Good morning, fam. How y'all doing today? We back with a repeat of a previous topic. I don't know if you remember in my last talking head video we talked about nah, I'm up now. That was the name of the video, and that was part one. And I told you during that video that there was two perspectives, two different ways that you could look at that topic. So because I like to have some tools in my toolbox, some different ways of approaching things, some different ways of responding to things that you know are going to be coming down the pike, right? Especially as you grow and progress and mature, all those things in your life, you're going to run into certain scenarios. They might be similar, but people use different approaches to get to you, okay? So we need to have more than one way. We need to have more than one way of dealing with things. Am I right? Okay. You ever reach that point in life where you just look around and say, you know what? I'm just not going to deal with that way. Okay? You just gotta sometimes go with the flow, depending on the mood that you're in. And sometimes you just don't have the energy or the time to deal with people like that. And you just say, nah, I'm up now. Meaning your energy is higher, your spirit is stronger, your goals are clearer, and your tolerance for foolishness, well, you don't have it anymore. So you just like, nah. You can't reach me if I've grown, right? You can't get to me if I've grown. So if you still have a person that's talking about you, and just know that they probably talk, if you haven't been around that person, they're probably talking about the old you and not necessarily the reality of that, because it could be the delusion or an image that they had created in their mind about you, right? It doesn't necessarily, the story that they tell most of the time is not true, because if you're not around that person really doesn't know you. So your tolerance for what they putting out, especially if you've done some things in your life, right? You've achieved some things in your life. There are certain things that you no longer participating in, or certain people you no longer associate with. If you've done that kind of thing in the spirit of growing, then you know that person doesn't know you. Because how could they know you if they're not around you and you don't talk to them and they don't really know what's going on in your life? So that means they out there creating their own stories about you. They really out there talking about shadows. The shadow that takes up space in their mind. the shadow of you that never grew, the shadow of you that never progressed it in life. Sorry, somebody's calling. The shadow of what they want you to be, or where they want you to still be at their time in their life. So let's talk about what it means to be up. I said, nah, we up now. We ain't dealing with, you don't have to deal with that. You don't have the patience. You don't have the tolerance. You don't want to sacrifice any energy or effort in dealing with that. You probably up now, okay? Not just awake, but you are aware of the things that they could possibly be doing, right? And sometimes that's the problem, because you can predict their behavior, but they can't predict your behavior because they no longer know you. And sometimes that is what's really upsetting now. Because if you can't predict what a person is going to do in certain types of scenarios, you can't get one step ahead of them, right? They can no longer manipulate you. They can't guilt trip you. They can make you feel like you are acting funny, because that's a popular thing that I hear. Now, oh, you acting funny? Nah, why somebody got to be acting funny when they decide in their life it's time to focus like a grown person and actually do something with your life? See, when you start elevating mentally, spiritually, financially, and emotionally, folks start acting funny. They start acting funny. Okay? And it's like they want to say you've changed. Well, I want you to respond and say, yes, I have changed, because evolution and all that, yeah, we supposed to change. Uh, they supposed to change too, but sometimes they get stuck in their own foolishness, their own chaos, and they want you to stay stuck with them. We're not doing that, remember? We talked about that already. You see what it is, they don't really know how to respond to what you the way they are perceiving you now, right? They don't know this person. They only know the person that they created in their mind from way back whenever the last time you talked to them. And when they talk about funny, you want to know what's funny? Some people love you as long as you stay where they left you. But the minute you start building your peace, setting your goals, eating right, minding your own business, they start looking at you like you somehow betrayed them. And I know you want to tell them, baby, I didn't switch this game up. I ain't switching up. I just leveled up. I leveled up to a level that you no longer understand. I leveled up to a level of peace. Honey, please, get you some peace. I'm going to tell you, you're too busy to hang out with them now. You're too busy to listen to them, to let them be in your presence. You're too busy. No, you ain't too busy, baby. I'm just busy, not too busy for you, because basically probably you no longer have anything that you can conversate with them about. I mean, you don't want to hang out in the same places that they hang out. You don't want to be around the same people they want to be around. Not as often as they want to be around. You want to be focused, right? You are busy becoming the person that you prayed to be. Yeah, that's your busy, and really that's the only explanation you need to give them. You don't have to give them that explanation, but if you want to, you can just say, hey, I'm busy becoming a better person. That's all. You know, sometimes as you are becoming busy, becoming the person that you are, all kinds of distractions might come your way. So let's talk about distractions, because the moment you start rising, distractions come, and they come dressed in all kinds of ways. Some of them come dressed in as opportunities. Some of these distractions come dressed as friends. Some of them come dressed as confidence. Some of them come dressed as lovers. Some of, honey, they come in all kinds of ways, shapes, and forms. Old flames start texting, your old job start calling. Them old patterns, them old behaviors, they knocking on your door. It's almost like they testing you. They want to see if you really meant that prayer about peace. They really want to know what you willing to sacrifice to get that goal that you set. What you want to sacrifice for that peace that you're talking about. And talking about offended, honey, yeah. And when you don't respond, folks will get offended. If they're trying to distract you and pull you in a different direction, and you are not going along with their program, baby, they're going to be offended. But you can't let them guilt trip you into shrinking into the person that they can understand, or the person that they can relate to. Because if they can no longer relate to you, or you can't relate to them, that just is what it is, right? And we go on our merry way. We go our separate ways. But why do I need to become something that I'm not, just so you can relate to me? Because listen, when God elevates you, he doesn't need anybody's approval. No, we're not looking for group approval here. This promotion, this little extra change I got, these little connections and networks that I have built from the ground up, those things were custom made, custom delivered just for me. You don't have to be able to relate to them. So the things we talking about, those are high spirit things, right? You get those things through spirituality, through your prayer, and your focus in becoming a better person. But let's be real, it's once you are operating at that level, it is hard to stay there, because not just because of the distractions, just sometimes things in life happen, right? You could be flying high like a balloon one day, and the next day you can be hovering over the ground. That's just life. So what you got to do when you feeling like you hovering just above ground, you got to find some kind of way to recharge yourself. And you're not going to recharge yourself by hanging around those people who drain you. Okay, you got to feed your spirit, feed your mind, feed your body in a way that recharges you. You know, just like how you constantly feeding that social media platform just to be in the algorithm of where you want to be. If you want to be, stay where you're at in life. That's where you want to be. You got to constantly be recharging yourself to stay there also. So I can't tell you what in the world charges you, right, or recharges you. You got to figure that out. If that's you getting in a vibe and playing your music, taking your walks, or praying, or doing some breathing exercises, or getting back into your books, or whatever that recharge button is for you, you have to figure that out for yourself. But remember, you worked too hard. I know you did. You worked too hard to come this far to just let somebody pull you back in to their confusion, to their chaos. Honey, protect your peace like you protect your pocketbook. You earned it, baby, and it's paying dividends, and you need to learn how to enjoy your dividends. Now, on them days when you up, you know when you up, you can see how your mindset and your view on things have changed, right? From where you were back in the past days. Things that used to upset you don't even make your radar anymore. You look at certain situations now and you go, that's beneath my peace. That's beneath my peace. You ever realize how quiet it can get as altitude rises? I don't know if you ever been like in the mountains, and the higher you go, the quieter it gets, right? And that's because it's the same way in life, right? To be honest with you, the rooms that you are now in, they get smaller, right? The number of people that you need to consult with, the number of people that you consider your mentors, your sponsors, your peers, that room gets smaller, right? Okay, that's because everybody ain't designed to fit in that particular room that you're in. They just not. It may come at different times of their life. Your timing is your timing that God has put on you, right? And your blessings are your blessings. Why do you feel like you need to explain your blessings to somebody else? So when people start saying you've gotten distant, no, just tell them you at a different elevation. You at a different elevation. You're no longer chasing other people's acceptance. You are chasing your own alignment in this world in your own timing, right? So we're not chasing acceptance anymore. We're in alignment. So when you hear people say, "Nah, I'm up now," you know what it means. It means they found their peace. They found their purpose. They are living in their joy, right? That's what it means to enjoy life and refuse to give up on other people's, pushing back on other people's chaos. You can't pull a person in peace into somebody else's confusion, and when it don't work out, you want to blame them because they've changed, or they think they better than you. Nah, that chaos that you living in, 9 times out of 10 you had something to do with either creating it or deciding to stay there. Because I know sometimes you don't create the environment or the situations that you fall into, but you have to make a decision, a personal decision, on whether or not you're going to fight to get out of that chaos or if you're going to stay there. Okay? So don't fault other people for not wanting to stay there. Okay? They want to focus on their peace, they want to focus on their progress, they want to focus on being happy and enjoying life. Who are you to tell them that they need to stay small? They need to stay relatable, that they need to do this and do that with their life. Nah, that's not your decision. You got your own life. Go live your own life and leave these people alone. Just really one last thing I want to say is stay up, okay? Stay grounded. And your ground level don't necessarily mean somebody else's ground level. But stay up, stay grounded, and stay grateful, because once your mindset changes, your whole life will follow you. I promise you that. Okay? So stay up. And I'm staying up too.